A very good evening and thank you for joining GBS News at 9. My name is Stephen George and our sign language interpreter tonight is Paul Madenge. And now, in a bid to develop motorsport talent in Kenya, President William Ruto officially flagged off the 2025 WRC Safari Rally today while announcing the government will support the FIA Affordable Cross Car project returning to where it started at City Hallway. The flag off was spectacular as the cars zoomed off to Kasarani for the first competitive stage, famed as the Super Special, where drives went head-to-head.
National government.
President William Ruto has called on the private sector to step in and sponsor the Safari Rally in the future. Speaking while flagging off the 2025 WRC Safari Rally, the head of state urged private companies to take the lead in sponsoring future editions, stating that the government is willing to allow the private sector to take up the sponsorship role.
The future is predicated on increased private sector participation. I remember that this rally cost the government of Kenya 2.1 billion in 2023. I did give very firm instructions to the ministry that that figure should come down. I'm happy that 800 million to 1.3 billion. And I insisted that this year it must cost less for the government of Kenya. I'm happy again that it came down by another 320 million. This year it's going to cost 980 million. I want to encourage the private sector. I am looking forward to the day when this will cost zero for the government of Kenya and the private sector will take it up because they need the advertising, they need the profiling. I think the government of Kenya is very willing to cede ground and to allow our private sector companies to shine in the glory of this great event.
The famed rally, Safari returned to the World Rally Championship in 2021 after a 20-year hiatus.
The Safari Rally is one of the most eagerly anticipated events worldwide, while the Hell's Gate Power Stage is among the most watched globally. Additionally, the famous Mitimbili jump in Kedong is one of the most iconic images in the WRC Rally worldwide. Since 1953, the WRC Safari Rally has been a key part of Kenya's sporting heritage and a pillar of our sports tourism. Hosting this event, the only FIA World Rally Championship leg in Africa, is a win-win partnership for Kenya, the continent, and FIA.
The rally revved off with a 4.76-kilometer super special stage at Kasarani before heading to Naivasha for the 8.15-kilometer special stage in Mzabibu this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, the Safari Rally Kenya will begin with a 32.20-kilometer Camp Moran stage, followed by the 19.11-kilometer Loldia 1 stage. Other stages will take place on Saturday, culminating in the final two stages at Oserengoni and Hell's Gate. The event will conclude with an award ceremony where the 2025 WRC Safari Rally Kenya champion will be crowned. Hilary Kabila, GBS News, Nairobi.
Cabinet Secretary for Public Service Performance and Delivery Management has promised to continue condemning adoptions happening in the country. The CS, who attended the African Union Summit in Mombasa today, also stated that he has written a letter to the president regarding the abductions that have happened in the country since June last year, as David Karani reports.
Ule ambaye ananiambia nitoke, basi anasema anaunga mkono utekaji nyara na kuua watu kiholela kinyume cha sheria.
CS Muturi has once again cleared the air, stating that he will not resign from the government after condemning abductions happening in the country under the government's watch.
Kama serikali kwamba hatuungi mkono jambo la utekaji nyara na pia mateso na wengine hata kuuliwa kwa binadamu hapa nchini. Sasa ule mtu ambaye anakashifu jambo hilo ndiye anatakiwa kutoka ama ni yule Ni nani anatakiwa kutoka?
The CSO has been on the government's neck since the beginning of this year, condemning it due to the abductions that have happened in the country since June last year, has been condemned by the Kenya Kwanza leaders, urging him to jet out of the government.
If any of our cabinet secretaries feels that the president has reassigned them to a ministry that they think is lower than whichever other ministry that they were in, Honorable Speaker, the honorable thing to do is, if you feel the ministry you are serving in is too small for you and you are too big for that ministry, simply resign. If you think, Honorable Speaker, that you are reassigned to a ministry where you are not able to extort money from people as you used to extort in any other, Honorable Speaker, and you can't say to the public, and you now want to pretend that you are holier than thou, and we know you. And you know, if you are about to be fired, don't pretend that you are either resigning or asking to be fired.
Muturi raised an alarm after his own son was abducted and released last year, and has promised to fight for what, according to him, is right for Kenyans. Will he survive the whip of the broad-based government? Some will say his fate is underlined. Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
Men of cloth are determined to reclaim the hallowed grounds from the political shackles. Bishop Jackson Olesopit on Sunday barred politicians from using the pulpit as a political arena. Likewise, he said all church donations and offerings must be done silently. Today, Nyeri Catholic Bishop Anthony Muheria followed suit. Here's more on the story.
It seems this will now be the trend in our churches. Political leaders only granted a chance to wave to the congregation to acknowledge their presence. The Catholic Church today have taken the cue from the Anglican Church, barring politicians from using the pulpit for politicking, all in an attempt by the men of cloth to reclaim the hallowed sanctuary from the shackles of politics.
Basi kanisa hitakuwa jukwaa la kuendesha siasa hizo, na hii hailengi wale walikuja leo. Tunasema kwa wote ambaye ni wanasiasa. Mahali kanisa la Anglikana itakuwa inakutana, hatutakuwa na nafasi kama ni ibada, na tumesema pia sisi tujaitisha harambe na hela za kanisani asitatangazwa.
Today, Catholic Bishop Anthony Muheria of Nyeri Diocese walked the talk, denying the local UDA politicians a chance to speak in a church function, only allowing them to wave to the people.
The standing of the conference, the Catholic bishops, is that we will not have political speeches in our ceremonies. However, we recognize the great honor granted to us by our leaders, both our national leaders, our political leaders, our civil leaders, and other leaders in the judiciary and other arms of government who are here. Therefore, we will indeed recognize your presence, because this is a great honor. Kindly, my dear brothers and sisters in Christ, let us just first of all recognize and give respect to our leaders with a round applause.
Honorable Gigi Murugara, we have Honorable Mugambi Rejikiri, Governor Mudomi Joki.
The bishop made it clear that as the Catholic Church, they will only accept a donation or an offering if only done secretly.
So we don't refuse donations. We don't reject donations. But the motto of the bishop ordained today summarizes what we are saying. We are saying good must be done well in silence. We are concerned about microphone donations. We are concerned about loudspeaker donations. We are concerned about donations for publicity. The Bishop is very consistent with the position of the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops on the issue of donations when he says, good must be done well in silence.
Kumbukumbu la Torati 16 na 17 inasema kwamba usiende kwa nyumba ya Bwana bila chochote, na uende kutoa kulingana na vile Mungu amekubariki. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kwa hivyo kwa nini tuulize wengine? Unaweza kuleta shilingi moja umeiba na mwingine aleta shilingi milioni moja ila amefanya kazi kwa bidii.
The county government of Kirinyaga has launched the digitization of all health services that will ease service delivery and make it efficient and seamless. It became the third county after Mombasa and Embu counties who are already in progress of digitization. The event at Kirinyaga County Headquarters in Kitus was led by PS for Medical Service Harambee Stars and host Governor Anne Waiguru. It is a significant step in county's implementation of Taifa Care. The PS said the team from the national government will take through the county staff the new primary health care model, including the capitation framework and benefits of the package. He added that the access rules and guidelines are important because some patients do not understand what is covered. He noted the oncology package has been raised from 450,000 to $500,000, while ICU, which was not covered under NHIF, is now funded under SHA to a tune of 38,000 from 4,460 shillings. The digitization team will provide customer care-like services to make the health services better without county. Kirinyaga County Governor Anne Waiguru said the digitization initiative is a plus to the county, which has already digitized the services at Kerugoya Referral Hospital through Health Management Information System, noting the current initiative will take digitization to primary level.
We had already started. Our Kerugoya Hospital is fully digitized. We actually have a health management system. Now we are completely paperless. Our doctors use tablets just like this. They're registered. Our medical records are digitalized. So the reason I insisted is because this is the initiative that will take this digitalization all the way down to our level, primary healthcare, level 2 and level 3. As Kenya embraces this digital health superhighway framework, which aims to integrate fragmented health systems across the county, Kirinyaga County is very proud to align with this vision as we move towards the digitization of health services from end to end in all our 75 health facilities.
Tuko hapa na timu yetu ya digitization to automate every hospital because we want to make Kirinyaga the third paperless health county in the Republic of Kenya. Na tukimaliza hiyo kazi na mtaelezewa, mtu akiingia hospitali kwanza unaingia kwa registration system, ina capture uliingia saa ngapi. Wale madaktari wanakuweka 2 hours kabla kukuona, system inatuambia huyu alikuja saa 5, daktari alimuona saa 7. Tunaelewa? Saa hii hatuwezi kuelewa ni nani. Yule daktari anamtibu, tutajua alitibiwa na daktari fulani. Saa hii bila digitization, it is possible uingie pale hospitali utibiwe na veterinary. It is possible.
From the heights of power to stark solitude of a courtroom, a stark reminder that the long arm of the law reaches all. Former Nyanza Governor Daniel Waithaka Mwangi has been sentenced to 2 years in prison or a 1 million shilling fine after being found guilty of procurement and abuse of office, a dramatic fall from grace marked by an empty courtroom, a stark contrast to the days when power and influence surrounded him. Susan Nganga reports.
Former Nyanza County Governor Daniel Waithaka has been sentenced to 2 years in prison or a fine of 1 million Kenyan shillings after being found guilty of procurement irregularities. The verdict was delivered at the Nyahururu Anti-Corruption Court, where Waithaka was sentenced alongside Grace Wanjiru Githonga, the former County Executive Committee member for Water, Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources.
I've also had the mitigation by counsel for the first accused and second accused. Their past records in public service and the current state of their lives, including the medical condition of accused one who has not been attending court. I find that a fine will be reasonable in the circumstances of this case. Hence, the first accused is fined Kenyan shillings 500,000 for counts 1 and 4, and in default, he will serve 2 years imprisonment. The sentence will run concurrently. For accused number 2, she also pay a fine of Kenyan shillings 500,000 for each county, that is count 2 and 3. In default, she will serve 2 years imprisonment. The sentence will also run concurrently. You have a right of appeal within 14 days.
The case centered on a 50 million shilling contract awarded to Israel-based Tahal Consulting Engineers Limited. Investigations by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission revealed significant breaches of procurement laws and an abuse of office.
Where the case, we started handling it in 2018, where we got a report of some irregular payments to an Israeli consultancy firm called Tahal, where they were to do some water and sewerage project, and the money they were paid in excess of 50 million was irregularly paid to them. So the case went through the court, the hearing was done, and the accused persons were convicted.
This sentencing places Waithaka among a growing list of former governors convicted on graft charges, including Moses Lennon Kulal and Ferdinando Ititu. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
It is time for us to take a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platforms at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We'll be back.
We are going to be talking about goal setting itself and building resilience. Goal setting and building resilience.
So hawezi sema nita set goal then someone else akuja kuwork on the goal. Hawezi sema uta set goal yenyewe mwenyewe huwezi reach. Hawezi sema uta set goal na mali una stand like huwezi reach ile goal umeset.
Just imagine I've promised someone that I will do something to them by the end of this year, and then surely I fail. What will happen? You know, they will say Steve has broken my heart.
Like nimeset hata mimi goals, but ni realistic goals.
Unajuaje ni realistic?
Because najua I'm capable of, like, they're realistic. They're making sense. Sijasema nanunua V8 by the end of the year. But because I know inaweza kuwa impossible, because mtu anaangalianga. Si kumake tu. Unajua utaandika. By December 31st, nataka kuwa na iPhone 16 Pro.
It is insane to do the same thing and expect different results. Yeah, so definitely we need to see, like, if it is not working, what is in this system that is making this thing fail, and I'm expecting these results. How can I improve this project?
The goals that you set, maybe ukiona like maybe that can be affected by kitu huwezi avoid.
About self-competition. I'm only in competition with the person I see in the mirror, and that is me. So it is about my personal development.
It's not just a matter of writing and putting and now waiting, you know.
Hello, boys and girls. How are you today? Because I am very, very happy. So we are on Kids Mind on GBS TV.
Today we're going to make ta-da! A boba tea letter set.
We are moving to singing class.
tortoise, and a hare. Friends, do you know about this story?
Now you're finished to make.
Enjoy yourselves, everybody.
Everywhere, GBS.
And welcome back. The 61st edition of Nyanza Region Kenya Science and Engineering Fair has kicked off at Nyamira Girls High School in Siaya County. The 4-day event has drawn 620 young innovators from across Nyanza's 6 counties, with 312 science and engineering projects competing for a spot at the national fair. Only 104 of these innovations will proceed to the national level at Karagu Boys High School later this year. Speaking at the official opening, Nyanza Regional Director of Education, Mr. Lawrence Karontumi, emphasized the importance of the competition in promoting science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. He noted that STEM education fosters critical thinking, problem solving, and technological advancement, which in turn contribute to job creation and economic growth. Now, the Nyanza Region Chairperson, Mr. Peter Makagwe, encouraged students to develop innovations that address real-world issues such as climate change, security, and access to clean water, stressing the need to utilize locally available resources. This year, the farm introduces significant changes which with the Center for Mathematics, Science and Technology Education for Africa, announcing that the robotics category, previously exclusive to STEM model schools, is now open to all schools nationwide.
When you're talking about STEM education, when you're talking about innovation, we are saying this is something we cannot overstate, because this is the backbone of progress in any society. The Kenyan society and the world at large. So the question then is, why are we saying STEM and innovation are the backbone? There are few issues that we can raise to support this, so that we give it a perspective. One is that STEM education and innovation gives us competencies in problem solving and critical thinking.
Absa Bank Kenya has posted a 28% rise in net profit for the financial year ending December 31st, 2024, reaching 20.9 billion shillings. The strong performance has led to an increased total dividend payment of 9.5 billion shillings, translating to 1.75 per share, a 13% increase from the previous year. Total revenue grew up by 14% to 62.3 billion shillings, supported by a 15% increase in net interest income to 46.2 billion shillings and an 11% growth in non-interest income to 16.1 billion shillings. Now, the bank's balance sheet remains stable, with customer deposit rising to 367 billion shillings, reflecting growing confidence in this institution.
Last year, we saw a preference for short-term loans. We saw an impact, especially to the consumer businesses, shying away from going for long-term, loans. We saw the businesses' preference to go for things like overdrafts, trade loans. Those ones were still part of this.
We've shown consistent revenue and profit growth. We've shown, even in a flat lending environment, 180 billion of new lending. That shows our commitment to the market. And as Yusuf said, we expect, it's a natural outcome of what's happening in the interest rate environment.
And as a provider of finance, supporting the environment by funding sustainable projects is one of the keys, and we've continued to play a big role in that area. We disbursed in the region of 47 billion shillings in that space.
The state television of Sudan reported on Thursday that the army is nearing the capture of the presidential palace in Khartoum from paramilitary rapid forces, indicating a pivotal change in ongoing two-year conflict that risks dividing the nation.
On Thursday, Sudan state television reported that the military is close to taking control of the presidential palace in Khartoum from the paramilitary rapid support forces, signaling a significant shift in the two-year-long conflict that threatens to further fracture the country. On Wednesday evening, intense fighting broke out near the palace, accompanied by explosions and airstrike from the army, targeting central Khartoum, according to accounts from witnesses and military sources. For almost 2 years, the Rapid Support Forces has maintained control over much of the western Sudan and parts of Khartoum, but it has been losing territory in central Sudan to the advancing army. Hostilities escalated in April 2023, when the new transition plans sparked violent confrontations. The ongoing war has resulted in what the United Nations describes as the largest humanitarian crisis in the world, with both the Rapid Support Forces and the army facing allegations of severe human rights violations. Paris Kigo, GBS News.
Uganda is on the brink of victory as health authorities have announced the discharge of the last 2 Ebola patients. But while this marks a significant milestone, the battle isn't over yet. The European Union has stepped in with additional emergency funding of 1.2 million euros to boost crucial efforts, including surveillance, information control, and logistical support. This comes as Uganda enters a critical 42-day countdown to officially declare the outbreak over. Susan Nganga with more.
Uganda is on the verge of victory, with the last patients discharged, but the battle isn't over. The European Union announces emergency funding of 1.2 million euros channeled through the World Health Organization, aimed to support crucial efforts such as surveillance, infection control, and logistical support. The new funding is in addition to 200,000 euros allocated in February 2025 to the Uganda Red Cross Society to support their response to the Sudan Ebola virus outbreak. Also, via the Union Civil Protection Mechanism, the European Union has deployed experts from member states to Uganda to strengthen response efforts. Uganda has made remarkable progress. Just yesterday, the 19th of March, health authorities announced the discharge of the final 2 Ebola patients, triggering a 42-day countdown to declare the outbreak over. Since the outbreak was declared on 30th January 2025, and as of 5th March 2025, a total of 14 cases, including 4 deaths, have been reported. According to the current assessment, 7 districts in Uganda, including the capital Kampala, are at a very high risk. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
We are taking a short break. Keep your feedback streaming into our social media platform at GBS TV Africa. The SMS line is 21144. We'll be back.
Remove my skin and I won't cry. But you might. What am I? Are you still practicing art ukifanya your engineering? Umezimix ama umeenda tu fully on art? Sasa najua, hebu kwanza tuchache, because najua huwezi taja wote. Just some of the people wenye, some of the celebs wenye umeweza ku reveal your art to them.
J. Kroba, bibi yake.
hiyo siku walifurahia mbaya. Na mimi nilikuwa emotional mbaya sana.
Ulilia?
Go and check that video guys. Nililia mbaya.
I was seeing kuna place ulikuwa unasema like BN walikusaidia sana in building your career. Unaweza tuambia hiyo moment venye ilikuanga?
We.
How to avoid food poisoning. Tips to prevent foodborne illness. You'll need sealable containers, a cutting board, antibacterial soap, lemon juice or vinegar. Step 1. Check the dates of the food products before buying and before cooking. Step 2. Store food in the recommended temperatures to keep them fresh. Step 3. Discard any food that smells or looks questionable. Step 4. Separate meat and vegetables at storage. Step 5. Use plastic chopping boards and not wooden ones. Bacteria can get trapped in wooden boards. Step 6. Wash your hands thoroughly with antibacterial soap before handling food or after handling meat. Step 7. Refrigerate leftovers within 2 hours of cooking.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. Funeral services are being held today across North Macedonia for victims of last weekend's devastating nightclub fire. The blaze, which claimed the lives of 59 people, mostly young adults, has left the nation in mourning as families and communities gather to lay their loved ones to rest.
North Macedonia comes together to mourn the victims of the tragic fire that tore through a nightclub in the eastern town of Kokani on March 16. Dozens of lives were lost in an inferno that swept through the venue during a live performance by the pop band DNA. The tragedy has left a deep scar on the country, with 59 people, mostly young men and women, among the dead. As the funerals unfold, the pain of this national tragedy is palpable, with the lives of many young people, including several members of the popular band DNA, forever lost in the flames. Communities across the country are united in mourning as they come to terms with this devastating loss. The fire has shaken the nation, and authorities are continuing their investigation into the cause of the blaze, while grieving families are left to find a way to cope with the unimaginable.
Those our children, instead of providing them with a safe and peaceful present, we have given them nothing. We have not protected these innocent children.
As North Macedonia comes together in grief, the country honors the lives lost in this horrific event, a tragedy that will be felt for years to come. Reporting for GBS News, Irene Juguna.
M23 rebels, reportedly backed by Rwanda, have advanced further into the eastern Congo, reaching the outskirts of Walikale. Despite recent calls for an immediate ceasefire, fighting remains intense, with clashes erupting between the rebels and the Congolese forces. Now to the next story. President Donald Trump is set to sign an executive order that will shift education authority back to the states. Education Secretary Linda McMahon supports the move, but congressional approves is required to fully dissolve the agency. With Democratic opposition expected, the future of federal education policy remain uncertain.
President Donald Trump is set to sign an executive order aimed at shutting down the Department of Education. According to a White House summary, this long-awaited order fulfills a key campaign promise by Trump, who has described the department as a big con job. Trump's newly appointed Education Secretary Linda has defended the president's plan, which will mark the first shutdown of cabinet-level agency under his administration. The order directs Linda to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return Education Authority to the states while continuing to ensure the effective and uninterrupted delivery of services, programs, and benefits on which Americans rely. Additionally, the summary states that any program or activities receiving remaining department funds must not advance ideology. Despite the executive order, Trump cannot unilaterally close the agency without congressional approval, which presents a significant challenge. While Republicans hold a 53 to 47 majority in the Senate, eliminating the Education Department will require 60 votes, meaning at least 7 Democrats will need to support the plan. Will Donald Trump's decision succeed? And will Congress act on his request or block the efforts altogether? Vivian Scalabo, GBS News.
M23 rebels, reportedly backed by Rwanda, have advanced further into the eastern Congo, reaching the outskirts of Walikale despite recent calls for an immediate ceasefire. Fighting remains intense, with clashes erupting between the rebels and the Congolese forces.
Rwanda-backed M23 rebels pushed further into the eastern Congo, advancing into the outskirts of Walikale, just days after the presidents of Congo and Rwanda called for an immediate ceasefire. This escalation followed a surprise attack on a Congolese army position near town, leading to clashes between the rebels, Congolese soldiers and local militias. Walikale, a small town with a population of around 1,500 located in mineral-rich region, marks the farthest westward point the M23 rebels have reached in their rapid offensive this year. The attack occurred just a day after the two presidents met in Qatar and called for an immediate ceasefire to ease tensions in the volatile region. The ongoing violence in eastern Congo, one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, has forced over 7 million people to flee their homes. The M23 rebels, supported by approximately 4,000 Rwandan troops, have shown intentions of advancing further, even threatening to march towards Congo's capital Kinshasa, more than 1,000 kilometers away. Despite the peace talks, the situation remains tense with no immediate resolutions in sight. Trizatiengo, GBS News.
2 centuries have elapsed since the creation of Braille, a tactile writing system that has significantly changed the lives of countless individuals who are blind or partially sighted. In Mali, many individuals credit Braille with helping them achieve literacy and gain independence. The nation, like much of West Africa, has faced ongoing challenges in integrating those with visual impairments into society.
200 years have passed since the invention of Braille, a tactile writing system that has profoundly impacted the lives of countless blind or partially sighted individuals. Amadou Diaye, a social worker who lost his sight during childhood, expresses how learning Braille has expanded his horizons.
Braille has been instrumental in my life. Previously, people often wondered how someone who is blind could succeed. They questioned how I would navigate life and fit into the society. However, when I attended IGA University in Bamako and began writing, I realized that I could achieve everything others do.
He plays chords on his guitar, highlighting how his tactile system has been instrumental in nurturing his passion for music. He emphasizes the transformative impact of Braille on his life. In a country with over 20 million residents, where approximately 170,000 people are estimated to be blind, the Institute for the Blind in Mali plays a crucial role in helping students like Ndiaye overcome educational obstacles and prepare for a future where they can compete for jobs alongside their sighted peers. Paris Kigo, GBS News.
In Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, residents have taken to the streets to protest escalating gang violence, calling for urgent protection from armed groups who have taken control of much of the city. The demonstration, which aimed to reach the Prime Minister's office, met with resistance from the police, who fired tear gas at the protesters. Meanwhile, the country faces further challenges as new wave of deportees lands in Haiti, including convicted felons from the United States.
Tensions continue to rise in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, as residents take to the streets to protest against the surge of gang violence. Demonstrators, many of them armed with nothing but their national pride, demand urgent government action to protect them from the ever-growing threat of criminal gangs. As protesters attempted to march towards the Prime Minister's office, they were met with heavy resistance from Haitian police, who fired tear gas to disperse the crowds. The protesters, however, stood firm in their calls for protection, emphasizing their refusal to accept what they see as the government's collusion with gangs.
We will not accept that the state is colluding with the gangs to sell the country. This is the only Haiti we have. This flag is our flag. They will not cast us out.
Meanwhile, Haiti faces another crisis as 46 deportees, including 25 convicted felons, arrived from the United States. These deportations are a direct result of the termination of temporarily protected status for Haitians, a move that has drawn sharp criticism from human rights groups. The arrival of deportees, combined with increasing gang violence, paints a grim picture for the future of Haiti. With 85% of Port-au-Prince under gang control and no immediate solution in sight, residents are left dealing with an uncertain future. The question remains, how long will they be able to fight back before the situation becomes even more dire? Reporting for GBS News, Irene Juguna.
6 people have been confirmed dead and up to 40 others are missing after a rubber dungey sank in the central Mediterranean. 10 survivors have been rescued and brought to Italy's Lampedusa island for care, as the United Nations Refugee Agency urges countries to take stronger action to improve search and rescue efforts and create safer migration routes.
The Italian Coast Guard has recovered 6 bodies and is searching for up to 40 missing migrants after a rubber dinghy sank in the central Mediterranean. The boat, which was carrying migrants from Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Guinea and Mali, had left Tunisia with 56 people on board, but it started to deflate hours later. 10 survivors, including 4 women, were rescued and brought to Lampedusa Island, where they were receiving care. The UN Refugee Agency has called for stronger international efforts to improve search and rescue mechanisms at the sea.
UNHCR is assisting right now the survivors, but UNHCR urges states to join forces to strengthen search and rescue mechanisms at sea and promote wider access to safe and regular channels in the European Union.
This year alone, nearly 9,000 migrants have arrived in Italy, marking a 4% increase compared to the same period last year. Triza Tiengo, GBS News.
It is time for your most favorite segment of the show, the sports news. Let's get sporty. The Harambee Stars are set to face Gambia in the pivotal 2026 World Cup qualifier match today. The game is scheduled for 10 p.m. East African time at the Alanas Olympic Stadium in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, as Harambee Stars head coach Benny McCarthy, appointed just 2 weeks ago, expresses optimism about securing a win. Now, here is more the story.
The national soccer team Harambee Stars is set to face Gambia in a 2026 World Cup qualifier match in Ivory Coast. Harambee Stars coach Benny McCarthy is optimistic that Harambee Stars will become victorious in today's 2026 World Cup qualifiers match.
From what I saw today, yeah, we can definitely achieve something against Gambia. No football matches are easy. It's going to be very difficult, and they're going to make it extremely difficult for us. But I'm positive. I'm excited about the squad that we have assembled.
Defender Eric Ouma and attacking midfielder Mohamed Bajaber have also expressed optimism,
stating that they are prepared and ready to win the encounter.
Right, then we are going to win the match, which I'm sure that we are well prepared.
The atmosphere is very good, morale is high, and we're looking to pick up all 3 points, inshallah.
The match is a must-win for Kenya in order to revive their 2026 World Cup qualification hopes, as it will take the team to 8 points from 5 matches ahead of Sunday's fixture at home to Gabon. Elvin Muyodi, GBS Sports.
Well, we have come to the end of the news bulletin. It is always a pleasure having you on board. Let's do this again, same time, same channel. We make your news our business. My name is Stephen George, and our sign language interpreter tonight has been Paul Madenge. Good night.
Everywhere.